Hello, it's the TalkOver. It's where the action is the juice. Tonight I got Michael on the show. How you doing, Michael?
Hey, good.
Very excited to have you. Very excited to watch the movie tonight. The last episode we did, we talked over American Movie. Kind of a harder one, a little more than your average couch potato can track down and find. I mean, I know you can just rent it, but you look at the cover of that one, you go, I'm not watching that. But the episode was fantastic. We had stories I did not expect to come up. Episode before that, a lot of y'all checked out, was Barbie. Covered that with Sarah. Michael here is Sarah's old ball and chain. If I've died 1,000 lives with Sarah on D&D, I've died twice as many with Michael. I cannot tell you how much of a joy it is to play D&D with them because they just go for it. And Michael might be the sanest of his siblings. All of them are just as insane at the D&D table. It's a wonderful time. But doing
I'll
this,
have to try harder though.
well, so here's the thing: when you're, collective storytelling, you're working together to try and make this big epic. You talk about your influences. You talk about your movies that you watch. You suggest them for each other. Michael has sent me some of the craziest suggestions for movies ever. Like I've seen one of the prototypes for the TalkOver was us watching Death of Stalin. Like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched that movie probably otherwise, and we had a wonderful time.
I watched that again about a week or two ago, I think.
I think it keeps popping up on stream, and I can't. The part where he puts the tomato in his pocket. I tell everybody about this, and you're like, you're insane, Trent. But we also did it with Gone in 60 Seconds, and I think Sarah coined the term heroin chic for Angelina Jolie's aesthetic. So that's kind of
buckle fat removal became chic.
Exactly. Well, so we buckle fashion. We have done this a bunch of times. That's how I knew this kind of thing would be so much fun. And so trying to get everybody that did the origins of it on the show has been sort of my mission. And doing it every other week makes it a little bit harder, but everybody's been very patient and bared with me on this. So it's a good time to remind you, if you want to find out when these are coming out, go follow on Facebook. It's just at TheTalkOver. And then I put out like cards to tell people when they're coming out. It's very punk rock. I'm so stupid cool, man. I just put it out like, where's Fluffy? You just got to find it. And I put out shorts and reels over on the YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you'll get this also VOD. So, figure your own way out to get around commercials. I'm just trying to put it as many places you can watch it ad free because I want it to be hassle free as well. So tonight, it's another movie that's a big ask. But not really. It's on streaming services. It's on HBO right now. It pops up a lot. This is a cult classic by all definitions. And it's one of those that you want to put in your back pocket to suggest for people. And I don't remember it. I watched it once when it came out, and this was in my drinking days. I remember where I was. I remember do you know how you have like a memory of watching a movie, but not what the movie is? Is that ever happened?
It is incredibly rare for me to remember almost anything about a movie. Most of the time it's a blessing. I almost always forget the endings of movies.
It's like 50 First Dates.
Yeah, exactly. You just remember kind of how it made you feel. Like, that movie was weird and I loved it, or that movie creeped me out and I never want to see it again. Or like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I watched that one recently.
Yeah,
Great
we were
movie.
just talking about it.
Excellent movie. I never want to see it again.
Why? Let's pause everything on this movie. Let's talk about this real quick. Why Guardians 3? What you watch it? Is it because it's sad?
It's just so sad.
It's very sad. It's like real sad.
What's funny is I was getting ready to watch a movie and just trying to think of what should I watch. I want something. I've had a long day. I want something a
nice romp through space.
Now I knew as soon as Guardians was the first thing that popped into my head, just because I'd been also on a Marvel kick for a little while.
Sure.
I knew immediately that it has a reputation for being very sad. I was like, I'll plow through anyway. This is one of the few MCUs that I haven't seen, and it punches you right in the gut.
I think I don't. So I just want to shout out. Thank you, Chad, for being in the chat. King of Clutch over there. You and I. So okay, there's so many strings here. I got to work on this red web. We're not going to talk about the movie for a while. Y'all just going to get buckled in. So I let Chad borrow one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one that you and I talk about a fair amount. It's called Heat. I've been watching Heat since I was like 10, 11, whenever it came out.
I've actually only seen Heat one time.
Yeah. So I grew up watching it and I love it. It's like to me, it's as important as like Herbie, but I let Chad borrow it and he gives it back to me and he goes, that movie's kind of intense, man. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I pop it in. I'm like, oh God, there's like suicide and there's beatings. Well, so I'm kind of desensitized, but I tear up at definitely the second Guardians when he's like, after he tells him like he killed killed his mom, and he's like, you killed my mom, and he just like blasts him. I love that, man. Like I love how he pulls at the heartstrings. I love Peter Quill as a character. I hate how they did my boy. Like everybody hates him now. And then Chris Pratt kind of did it too. Why'd y'all mess up Star-Lord? He couldn't fail. It was like Iron Man 2, and then he punches Thanos.
And one of the things I see fairly consistently when people are talking about Guardians 3 is that they love the like happy ending for everybody. I thought that ending was kind of depressing. Like it closed everyone's arc really well. I feel like they did get what they needed.
You wanted them to stay together, didn't you?
Exactly, yeah.
I do too.
Like, okay,
I know.
cool. We just went through this huge adventure. Also, nobody pointed out in there that nobody in the movie pointed out that. So I guess spoilers for Guardians 3.
Come at me.
Rocket Raccoon at the beginning, you know, Adam Warlock comes at him. He doesn't know who Adam Warlock is, who sent him. He just beats the shit out of him, puts him into a coma.
And he's his best friend.
When he comes out of the coma, he's like, okay, we're at the High Evolutionary's door. Come on, let's confront your trauma immediately.
Yeah, it's kind of like Terminator 2 when you think about it. Like all of a sudden, Arnold's the good guy, and that he's the reason that Sarah's in the mental hospital. I love the. I tell you this too. Did you watch the Christmas special?
No.
That makes me tear up. The very, very, very tail end. And it's what leads into that movie. So I highly recommend it, because before that, it's really silly and really funny. And it's a good, if you like people being together, then back up and just pretend that the third one didn't happen. I think it's raw, man. I think when he's just, I think this point that Star-Lord is just, I don't care anymore. I lost my girl. I'm losing my best friend. I didn't even know. He's on a suicide run's what he is. He dives out of that building. Okay, I could talk about those movies all night long. We have to get this show on the road. Oh my God. Chad says, moved back in with my dad. Spoilers. The guy that I want to call James Caan, that's not James Caan, his granddad. Anyway, all right. Tonight we're going to be watching John Dies at the End. This movie did not do well. It's kind of part of what makes it a cult classic. I think I know why it was marred a little bit, because a couple of years before this, Brandon Rolfe did that movie where he's like a ghost detective, or I saw that one too, but I did not have a good time.
Not familiar.
I can't remember the name right now. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But also Scott Pilgrim was, I think, the same year. It was a big year for Brandon Rolfe, but he It was about an anime that hadn't really come out yet. And then I see the trailer and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know anything about this anime. There's like backfilled information. So I don't want to jump into this not knowing. It was like a year or two later, somebody said, you know, it's directed by Edgar Wright. And I was like, someone get me a laptop. So there are things that people have like a stigma against. And this is one of those, it's kind of shot like that movie. That's whatever the Ghost Detective movie is. I'm not looking it up. I said that already.
Well, and it's, I mean, the director, Don Coscarelli, is fairly well known as, it's basically a cult director.
All the Phantasms. Beastmaster.
Actually, I think I've only seen one of Coscarelli's other movies, which was Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep. That is like the king daddy of cult classics. I was just talking about this with Aaron the other day, as a matter of fact, just because it's I wasn't crazy about Bubba Hotep. I like that it had Bruce Campbell in it. I like that it was kind of going for it. He's thinking with sand. Like I even remember lines from the movie, but I wasn't crazy about it. I do remember liking John Dies at the End immediately versus all this other stuff I've kind of had to learn to like over time. So this is the perfect one to help somebody get into some cult classic movies right here. The big thing that I forgot that I found out a few minutes before doing this is it's Lovecraftian. I don't remember anything Lovecraftian in this movie.
Kinda, yeah. It gets pretty out there.
I don't. Maybe Cthulhu shows up, and then I like blanked it out to save my brain from madness.
This background is,
and now I've died. To John Dies at the End.
Yeah. This is an image inspired by the movie, inspired by the book. Yeah.
I definitely don't remember. So it is a book series. We haven't talked about that yet. Tell me a little bit about the book series.
The book series, it has a really interesting history. I remember when I was growing up, probably around 10 years old or so, a friend of mine was into this author, into this book that I had never heard of. And at that point, it wasn't, hadn't been published. So while he was writing it, he was blogging about it and kind of publishing it by chapters. Now, don't take this as gospel. I'm sure I don't know all the details exactly. I don't know if it was literally chapter by chapter, The one thing I remember distinctly was that it was free initially. There was a point where he had
Mm-hmm.
finished it and he had his information online, and you'd literally just email the author and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, cool, thanks," and send you a copy of the book. The author,
what
by
is
the
this,
way,
a communist regime? What are we doing here? Sell these
well,
puppies.
and then
What?
eventually he got into the capitalism. He got it
Good.
picked up and published and sold it, and yeah,
He should. It's good work.
Find
Get
it where books are
paid.
sold.
Sure.
I'm losing my train of thought.
Welcome to the TalkOver. What's what are the other ones, real quick, before we go back to, well, no, I guess we shouldn't go back to it. That's kind of how the internet was. So
sorry, I picked up my thread. I just wanted to mention who the author was. It was David Wong. He's also
Wong.
the name of the protagonist, the narrator character in the story. I
thought it was John.
And it's the pen name. No, he's just telling you about John.
Oh, okay.
It's John and Dave, which also, that's a whole other thing. There's a web comic series called The Adventures of John and Dave.
Ooh.
That's worth checking out. That's wild and quite different in characterization of who they are, but
okay,
same kind of stories. He's I don't know if he is anymore. Actually, is cracked.com even still a thing?
I don't know, but that awakened memories.
David Wong's his real name is Jason Pargan, and he was an author, editor, something. He published on Cracked a lot before he did these books. So that's kind of the style of humor he was coming from, and then now he's got 7 books in 2 different series.
I'm wondering, do you know what years those were being sent out for free, like right offhand? Don't look them up, but if you happen to.
No, I don't.
Well, because this would have came out in 2010, so I got to imagine that, or 20.
The movie was 2012.
12.
I think the book was, I want to say 2008.
Okay.
And so right around the turn of the millennium was when that was being written and sent out to fans. And there's a wall of text in the back of the book too that just names basically a lot of those early supporters who would
like which would have been like backers for a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding, or just his early supporters. Oh, that's delightful. Well, okay, so there's an era of the early 2000s that I was sort of born in, because it's a weird time before YouTube. Like, even when YouTube came out, there were a lot of people that were hesitant to it. And anybody that was trying to make any kind of media on the internet had to make their own website and their own message boards. You had to get selected for stuff. Like, we had to submit to get selected for Trigger Street, for Funny or Die, like to get stuff that we made put up there. You know, it was like an honor to get put on somebody else's site on the internet before you could kind of start self-publishing. So people started doing that. There were a lot of writers that put up like chapter by chapter or entire books just to see how their fans would look at it, and then they'll turn around and stuff. Because like a real diehard fan, if it's good, they'll read it online, then buy the book for sure. You're not shooting yourself in the foot there. And that's what the internet used to be, baby. It's the Wild West. It still kind of is. We still got a place where we can say swear words a lot and share nasty things, and stuff like this thrived.
I kind of kept that up, that spirit alive with this book in particular. For some reason, the copy of it I own has gone through like 5 or 6 different people for a while. I lost track of it for like 3 years, and eventually figured out who had it, and he mailed it back to me.
Hey, you got it back. That's cool.
Through a couple people, yeah.
I've bought Fight Club 6 times. I will no longer buy Fight Club, and I will not lend out Fight Club. I will not own Fight Club because I lend it out and it does not want to come back. People are like, I'm keeping that one, and that has certainly changed over time. So let's get this show on the road. Go ahead and cue up John Must. I want to keep calling it John Must Die. Is there a movie called Somebody Must Die?
John Tucker Must Die, yeah. That's
why I'm messing it up. John dies at the end of the movie tonight. Go ahead and cue it up, because in a moment, I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, go. We're all going to be a bunch of Fonzies and click go on go. I'm going to put a timer up on the screen so we can stay synced up. We'll take a break at the hour mark and take care of some things. It's called the 5P timer. It's longer than 5 minutes. We're going to take care of the 5 Ps. They're very important. Personal time, PPs, and poo-poos. Now, when we come back, we'll talk for a minute. We'll finish up the movie. And that's it. That's the TalkOver. So I just got an ad for something. No, I don't want this. Oh my God. I paid for this. Why do I have an ad? Oh my God, something every time. Okay. Got it queued up. I've got mine ready. Michael, are you ready?
I am ready.
All righty. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
To be live balancing audio this whole time here.
I kind of got it in sort of a general arena. It ends up coming out okay. I also, on the, just to let everybody know, if it's like, if you ever catch a stream and you're having like maybe an internet connection issue, do go check over on YouTube, because it comes out way better in the recording. So okay. do you mean just a cheap one from where are you getting luxury axes?
It's the deluxe ace, you know. You gotta ask to go in the back where they keep the private videos. There's a curtain, you know.
Gee, oh my God. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this is not how I remember it starting. There's a little bit of like hardcore Henryness to it right now. You can see where like they took a little inspiration there with the like the POV stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. My favorite part about this bit is that he feels the need to explain to the guy at Home Depot why he's buying new parts for his ex.
It's yeah, this guy who does not care whatsoever. Also, Home Depot looks like the hardware store, the motor part store in Roadhouse.
Yeah, that did not look like a Home Depot.
I fell asleep to Roadhouse today on the couch like a dad. It was great. I woke up because I could hear Jeff Healey playing it's the song at the end of it about smoking is like smoke it's in your eyes, and I was like, oh man, the movie's over. I gotta go do the TalkOver.
I have not seen Roadhouse.
Well, I think I know what we're watching when you come back on, Doggy Dog. I think you just volunteered for that, my boy. Yep. Oh my God. Right. I got all the skinny on that one. Man, this is just such a good title for me. Wait, did we say earlier what's the title of the other books?
Oh, yeah, they're great. So the first one is John Dies at the End. The second one is This Book is Full of Spiders. The third one is What the Hell Did I Just Read? And the fourth one, which came out pretty recently and I just finished about a week ago, is If This Book Exists, You're in the Wrong Universe. Which
I definitely am in the wrong universe. It is Berenstain where I'm from. I didn't keep up where Mandela is. I'm sorry, I'm American and I'm lazy. So.
Yeah. And that's this series. Then there's also another one called it starts with Futuristic Violence and Fancy Suits.
Oh, that's a great name. Wow, these are wonderful names for stuff. And they're good too. Like when at least I knew the movie was good, so Chad says Roadhouse is so good. He's right, man. We'll have to burn the house down with Roadhouse, baby.
Sorry, I'm looking. Oh, the second one is Zoe Punches the Future in the Dick, and the third one is Zoe's.
My God, he should just hire himself out to name people's books.
Oh yeah, they're the best. They're very memorable, even if they're not particularly descriptive of the stories.
Is that Paul Giamatti? I don't remember Paul Giamatti being in this movie.
Oh yeah,
he's everywhere right now. Because that movie that
Zoe is too drunk for this dystopia.
Poor Zoe. I think I would be one or two drunk for the dystopian era.
3 pretty big names in it. We got Paul Giamatti, Doug Jones, and Clancy Brown.
Fucking is Clancy Brown in everything? Everything I turn on now, he's in. He's in The Mandalorian. He was in something else. I've been buying like old like laser discs and stuff too. He pops up in those all the time. And then I had on Highlander the other night. I was like, oh my God, I forgot he's like the other one.
I like to imagine when you say that he's not in the movies that you're getting for the Laserdisc.
He shows up.
The Laserdisc version of the movie, Clancy Brown pops up. A little Easter egg.
It's a special feature in the Laserdiscs. Oh, does anybody remember? Hang on. We got to have a moment because if it weren't for this individual, I wouldn't be doing this. Anybody else remember Space Ghost? That was a time and we lived it.
I did not watch Space Ghost.
Oh man, Coast to Coast. That was like prestige alt comedy, like Brack showing up. We used to we would download from Napster clips that I don't know who made them of Brack doing like comedy bits. Mm-hmm. They were never on TV. I don't know what they're from. It's pre-Adult Swim, but like songs that Brack would sing, like a character from Space Ghost. Yeah, it was like cartoon Conan O'Brien.
I vaguely remember it. That was I was watching Adult Swim around that era, and that was too when it was usually like there was a lot less comedy on it too, wasn't it? Because they did like more adult anime, like Trigun and stuff was on there for a while, wasn't it?
They would do
mixing that up.
During the day, they had Toonami, and they had a lot of anime stuff when I would get out of school, because that's how I saw Dragon Ball Z.
That's right. That was the McDonald's Big Kids meal of Adult Swim. Not quite a kid's meal, not quite for adults. Toonami, right in the middle for the cool
exactly.
kids.
Which I ended up, what's so funny now is liking Critical Role, and so many of them did voices in so many of those, and it's wild, man. Evolver.
I want to circle back and point out that intro with the Nazi whose head he chopped off.
Mm-hmm.
That we were talking over it a little bit. He was getting at that the ship of Theseus.
When is it an axe?
Yeah, because
he
replaced the handle. Yeah, the Nazi comes in and says, "That's the axe that killed me."
We were just talking about. I was talking about that with Nate when I went down. I went down and I announced roller derby in a Racine with Nate, and it was interesting. It was crazy, but we were driving and we were just talking about skates, and he was talking about how he's replaced like so many parts on his skate, and he's like, I can't get rid of the shoe part because number one, it's like fit to him very well. But at this point, it would be a ship of Theseus or a sheep of Theseus when you replace all the parts of the sheep. Yeah, a new haggis, new fur, a new bat.
Start with the haggis, yeah.
Yeah. But no, we were talking about that, and I don't know where I fall on that. If it's a car, you can just name it the same one. Like watch the original Gone in 60 Seconds. He wrecks like 4 Eleanors. Yeah, it's the same car.
Yeah, it's like reincarnation. It's spirit hops from car to car. Yeah, that's kind of how my computer is. I built that, and it's got.
It's still your computer.
You just change one part at a time. It has none of the original parts anymore.
Oh, for sure. Did this guy do like anything after this?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not that I am aware of, anyway. Although I did notice on this guy John, I don't know the actor's name. His IMDb page, he is now like he's put on like 50 pounds of muscle, and
he getting ready for Marvel.
He looks
Oh, he got like old man jacked. Oh, he did like J.K. Simmons or something.
Yeah, he's got like a real serious picture of him like
pulling
himself out of a pool. But then he's got like no credits that I recognize.
The Phoebe Cates
is yeah.
I do remember there's a bit of a quality to it that was like, is it Supernatural? That's the show with the brothers that are like they find cryptids and ghosts and things like that.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, supernatural stuff. Yeah,
pretty similar vibe. Yeah, this kind of hops around in the timeline, so it's framed with him telling the story to the reporter Paul Giamatti.
It's a basket of balls. I don't know if you guys remember, but around this time, every single girl I would date had a basket of wicker balls in them. And what I love is that when they made Better Call Saul, which technically takes place in the past from when it came out, but only by a few years, he had those in his apartment and he was bored. And so he would like bounce them down the stairs and try and get them into a cup.
Yeah, those wicker balls. We have those. The office I work at has a lot of those decorations around.
They still, you got to update that. You can't do that no more. That's 2010, baby, 2012. We've moved on. We've had a pandemic. Get some Auto Trader magazine and some highlights. Come on.
So this scene, I will try not to do this throughout the whole movie, but in the book,
if you're just gonna talk over it, we can just watch it later.
Yeah. No, I mean I'll try not to compare it to the book at every step of the way.
Oh, please do though. No, I want that absolutely.
Well, okay, so this scene is pretty much exactly in the book, except for in the book, it also involves the basement completely filling to the ceiling with feces. And then
I was gonna say blood. As you were saying that sentence, I was like, is it gonna be blood? You made it so much worse.
Oh, it's shit. Yeah, no, there's a lot of juvenile dick and fart jokes in here.
Well, if it's poo, do they get into it's Lovecraftian, but do they also get into like spiritual stuff, like religious type stuff?
A little bit, yeah.
I wonder if
they're a little bit vague with it. I that's why I can't remember if it comes up in the movie, but in the book they are able to use crucifixes to stop demons, but they kind of brush it off as being like, I don't know if it works because God's real or because we believe it or because they believe it. All we know is
technically both, according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is I was wondering if it was a reference to the Golgothan from Dogma, the hill of shit where everybody dies and it turns into a mountain of shit and then it's a monster from it. Exactly. Oh no, it's snakes. You have to move. Burn the house. I don't like them. I don't trust them. I'll fight one, but I don't like it.
The demons trapped them in the basement with an ingenious method here.
Okay. Oh, you touched it. Oh, you touched it. Nope, you can't touch it. Nothing can be done. Nothing. We tried everything.
You can't. He forgot to say no homo. That's what it was.
I forgot all about that. Sorry, everyone's moms. It's fine. That's amazing. Apparently, that sound was chitters.
Chitters?
That's the sound a steak makes. Yeah, Chad, don't call attention to it. I have to pretend like I didn't. Oh, yeah, my brain blocked this out. Yep.
Meat golem.
Wow. We fought some meat golems before. They're not hard, but they're just they're like slightly more of a pain in the ass than I want them to be. Dude, have you watched Thanksgiving yet?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, the Eli Roth, it was a trailer and then he made the real one.
Oh no.
It's out. It's good, man. It's got McSteamy, whatever his name is, the most handsome, baddest ass actor of all time. I can't remember his name.
Dancy is what's popping into my head, but I know that's not it.
It's not it. Next
Hannibal, right?
episode, I will have a whole laptop here dedicated to me looking up all the what's his names and what's his faces. If I didn't have a camera on me, I promise you I would remember these esoteric names.
You need a guy in the chair. You need a guy off camera looking stuff up and piping in. You need a engineer Brett.
Well, Chad was doing it for me because he's a nice guy, and I don't want to depend on Chad because I want people to kick back and enjoy stuff, and I don't want it to be like, you give him a mouse a cookie. I don't want him to I don't want to have to depend on him and be like, he's my movie dad. So I gotta stand on my own 2 feet here. It would be nice to have somebody in the chair. Down the road, I have to think about that. But,
I don't want to get into politics too much, but you mentioned if you give a mouse a cookie. And it only occurred to me within the last year or two that is basically anti-social program propaganda.
I don't know exactly what that means.
If you give a mouse a cookie, the whole point, the message of the book is don't. If you give a mouse a cookie, then they'll ask and ask and ask. If you give an inch, they'll take a mile. The
point's to be a bean dad, Michael, and make people figure shit out and not be coddled so much by all the sheeples and the little baby people that need. I'm just kidding.
Exactly, and that's a wild message to put in a children's book.
And if it's a cute mouse, it just needs a little bit of milk. Just give it a little tiny glass for his little bitty hands.
Mice don't know how to make cookies.
Give it in a tiny mug. Milk in a mug's way more fun.
Exactly. Someone should put it on a calendar.
Yeah. I just know that Marconi plays the Mamba. Gotta listen to the radio. Yeah. Chad says don't use lightning to heal them. That is the secret for all you Dungeons and Dragonsers out there. Do not use lightning against meat golems. It'll be a pain in your ass. He says if you're a child, though, you shouldn't be fucking with mooses and muffins. That's deadly. Why did my auto mod stop fucking? It stopped it stopped a lot like darn one week or something that facile, and then it hits me. All right. Chad gets away with it. That's what it is.
Or pig a pancake, I think, is one of them.
Pig in a pancake? Smoking a pancake?
If you give a pig a pancake, bong and a blitz.
Bong and a blitz? Oh. Those, by the way, sidebar, everybody, if you're curious, do the Austin Powers. I think every single Mike Myers movies, save for Cat in the Hat, they still hold up. I went on a run recently with like the Wayne's Worlds and So I Married an Axe Murderer and the Austin Powers are weirdly prescient.
They are, yeah. I watched the first one a couple weeks ago.
It's still good.
Yeah. Holds up more than I expected.
Mike Myers was a genius comedian. I found out something recently about Wayne's World that makes it make way more sense. It was originally supposed to be Canada. I just always thought Illinois was that way. It's a little weird. Like it's a lot of hockey and a lot of donuts, a lot more than Illinois is known for.
I have not seen Wayne's World.
Whoa. Oh, man. Treat yourself. It's so heartwarming. It's basically
or So I Married an Axe Murderer. I got a lot to catch up on.
That one's a little more niche. That was a little more cult classic. But the TalkOver is basically the show he makes. He has a public access show in his basement. It's kind of this. It's hilarious.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That UHF is another one in a similar vein that I have not gotten around to yet.
Better than you think it's going to be. I watched it late in life and I really liked it. I thought I wasn't going to, even though I love Weird Al. It's got a lot of heart, and it's a lot like Wayne's World in that respect, or like Pump Up the Volume, or Pirate Radio. There's a lot of like, I have a list of movies that led to me doing the talk over. I should do that as like a stream sometime.
Yeah, like that as your bonus content.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man,
this is their hit song Camel Holocaust.
Here's the thing. There's no way that that these kids have money to have a microphone that's like that in good shape. But I know bands like that would use that kind of microphone and it'd sound like hell, and they would do it anyways because it's cool. And it is cool. You're right.
Yeah. What's funny is that song is written in the book exactly. They ripped that verbatim. Camel Holocaust.
Wow, good job. Like, that's a lot of...
one of the things that they just had to translate into it.
That's helpful. That takes care of that problem. And at least it's internally consistent. Problem? Well, no. Well, like if you have, let's say you're writing a story and you're like, some band is playing some grody song, then you make the movie, you got to find a band to make this grody song or hire a music producer. I don't think they would have the money for T-Bone Burnett to like put in music for it. So like, it's good that the maker of this story also made that small part. It can all feel cohesive,
Did you recognize that actor? I don't know if they're going to show him again.
Is it Paul Giamatti again?
Running the tap. No, I think it might have been Jimmy Wong.
I don't know. He's very young if it is. Maybe. I don't know. Again, I'll get... Chad says he looked like Jimmy Wong.
Thank you. I'm not... Yeah.
All right. I'll get the laptop next. Heavy Metal Alexa's still not hooked up to the internet. I can't ask her.
Yeah, I don't have the chat open. Could you ask Chad to IMDb that for us? Can we outsource that for a second?
I think
that's Jimmy Wong.
It's got to be. Yeah, I think so too. He's got the same like sort of pattern. Jimmy Wong as Fred Chew. Chad confirmed it. Thanks, Chad. Oh, you buddy. That's the thing. Is I don't like. There have been times I'm just frustrated at the shit that this show ends up happening on it. I'm not going to ask somebody else to come along for that. Not the back end stuff. I want everybody to have the fun stuff. Let me deal with the shit stuff. Oh man. But thank you, Chad. You're crushing it, man. Oh my God. You haven't seen Roadhouse. That guy's, oh my God. We get to talk about Jeff Healey. Canadian institution. Oh.
I want to see it. The trailer for the remake came out fairly recently, and that caught my eye. So I definitely
it's in a couple of weeks. I've watched that trailer like every day for a couple of. I tried to not watch it. 7 people sent me that trailer, and I was like, I'm trying to wait, guys. I'm like, thank you for sending it to me. I really appreciate it because it was really sweet, and I had to remember not to be stressed about it because it was very nice. They thought of me. And I was like, I'm going to wait. But the last time there was like something, it was in a video with something else. And I tried skipping past it and I saw way too much. I was like, damn it, what am I doing? Let's just watch it. And I just sat there like, I think a lot of people aren't excited. I think it's going to be fire. It looks like Too Fast, Too Furious. They're in like Florida and it looks like looks like the movie isn't wearing underwear. It looks great. Now, I remember this guy. I want to talk about something about eating cockroaches real quick. Cockroaches are really significant in freak shows because there's a very, very common trick, which is where you can do like a cockroach circus, which is what the flea circus became. It's just a little bitty thing where you pull strings and it looks like they're doing stuff. Right. And if it's a good freak show, he eats the cockroach at the end of it. That's how you know you got a committed freak show. Well, if they're not going to eat the cockroach, what are we doing here?
Fair point. I mean, yeah, and that's what he just did. It was the coin buy and the ear trick, but it was a cockroach instead. Mm-hmm.
So if you're ever at a freak show and somebody pulls out a cockroach, lean over to the person you're there with. I don't know if you would go with a date to that, but lean over and go, I bet they eat that cockroach. And they're going to look at you like you're the weirdest person ever. And then when they do it, you're going to look, you see the future. I remember this guy weirdly.
In the book, they specifically describe his accent as being bouncy and bad and kind of switching between Jamaican and Irish.
Oh, so he might be, or either he lived in different places or he's faking it or something.
Or he's just full of bullshit, yeah.
Got it. Well, he's con man. got a cockroach in his pocket. Chad says MacGruber throat rips will make so much more sense to Michael after Roadhouse. Yeah, that's what happens is he shows up. They have like, everyone's got stories they tell about Patrick Swayze, and they're like, I heard he ripped a man's throat out once. So in the trailer for the new Roadhouse, he's open-handed slapping 5 guys. I think it's because his character is supposed to be an MMA fighter, and he doesn't want to like kill them. And if you end up going to court and you're like, yeah, we got in a fight and I open-handed slapped all 5 men, and yes, I broke one of their arms. So when they let me make the remake Roadhouse sequel, Roadhouse 2, Roadhouse Harder, I'm gonna make it so that Dalton slaps somebody's throat out.
Oh my god,
I know. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be movie of the year, the new Avatar,
and that'll be where you start.
Yeah, for scene 1, it's just going to be black, and you're going to hear like a bunch of people screaming and a flash, and then back to black. Roadhouse 2, Roadhouse Harder. Road Harder and put away wet. Yeah. Cut the check.
Write it hard and put it away wet. That's
because it's
very often anymore.
And because in the Roadhouse, in the first one, he sleeps in a barn above horses.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Swayze likes horses. He's a horse boy. Okay, you know what? I told Sarah that boys don't like horses. Patrick Swayze definitely like horses. I don't know if he was from Kentucky, but he plays from being from Kentucky like a lot, and they love horses in Kentucky. I can tell you that much.
What about the Rohirrim?
About the who?
Lord of the Rings, the horse lords. The one woman has to pretend to be a man. That's how much men love horses.
I don't like horses. Do you like horses?
No, I don't like
okay. I've never wanted to own one. I got on one once, and I'm like, I feel awkward. Like I can walk. I don't need him to carry me.
Yeah, it's bizarre. One time I was driving a team of horses.
I'm sorry.
The things you get into.
Are you? What you
no,
can't
I was
casually drop. I was just driving some. What are you talking about?
I was a bootlegger for a little. No, I was like 13 years old.
I was a ranch hand for a little while. I got in some trouble over in Oklahoma City, so I had to get out while the getting was good. And they gave me a place to live and $5 a day.
No, but one time I was stuck in Dodge for a little while.
You had to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Exactly, it was great.
Whoa, that's why I don't go there.
Yeah, they wore cowboy hats in McDonald's. It was uncomfortable.
Jeez, is it like Texas too?
It was pretty close. Yeah, we were driving to Phoenix. We were driving to Arizona, and we went through it. Our car broke down in Fowler, Kansas.
Oh, interesting.
It's actually perfect. The car died, and we managed to. It was very cinematic. We exploded right as the car stopped. We were like under the only stoplight around.
It rolls right dead to a stop.
And then this like straight out of a movie Southern sheriff who runs the town came to talk to us, helped us out.
He's wearing sunglasses at night. He's like, what we have here is a failure to communicate, boy. Y'all better not be here when that sun. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's a different thing. That's not funny.
Don't go there.
It's not funny. I'm sorry.
But that was how I wound up in the back of a cop car with, like a shotgun barrel right next to my face. But
you didn't want to take it and use it, and then you own a cop car. Your problem of having a broken vehicle is over.
That probably would have, in the long run, exacerbated my problems. I think. At the time, broke a car to felony.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine line, I know, but
you gotta just don't get caught. Go fast. Those cars go fast.
Long story short, we got towed to Dodge and got stuck there for a couple days while we waited for a mechanic.
You couldn't get the fuck out of Dodge. That's amazing. Should have wrote a country song while you were stuck there.
I don't remember. I feel like I was halfway through something else when I split off into that story, and I don't remember what I was.
You were driving. It is Lovecraftian. The Thing has showed up. You were talking about driving a load of horses?
I was like with my grandparents at like some pumpkin patch. So just one of those country activities you do with your family, and involved. And so I was driving a team of horses, next to the actual professional, and apparently horses trust you a lot and were fully willing to take us straight into the creek because I was bad at pointing them the right direction. I think I had to take over and get us back on. It's like they just have no autonomy apparently.
I think horses are one of the few animals that will eat until they die. Like I think that's a thing I heard, but I've also heard I actually heard recently how the word cocktail came about, how we use it now, because it had to do with we are boys talking about horses. I don't like it that Sarah's right and Barbie. So cocktail came about because horses have a tail and it's right where the poo comes out and where harni go, which is a problem. So they chop it off and eventually somebody's like, you ever notice how that looks like a cocktail? Now, another part of that is that eventually people would try to sell horses. You don't want a horse just kind of laying around. So they would take some ginger and some peppers and grind them up and then put it, at the business end of the horse, and then it would like move around because it's all very uncomfortable. Fast forward some time, people start making mixed drinks, and weirdly peppers in drinks was more popular when it was cocktails was a new thing. And somebody goes, oh, I know what that is, that's one of them cocktails, and it stuck.
That is bizarre.
It is very bizarre. Just a few years ago, I went back to the future for a minute. Story of my life.
I've also never seen Back to the Future.
I'm really excited for the potential that you have. I think
I'm just gradually, the more I talk, the more I'm losing credibility with the audience.
It's not about that. It's not about that. It's absolutely not. So I want to if I'm going to walk around acting like I'm a movie, I love movies, I'm Mr. Movie. If I'm going to be
have you seen Rashomon?
No, I haven't. That's the point of this, is that I want to see stuff or be more familiar with stuff. I'll show some things to people, but I don't want the majority of them to be me telling people. I would rather them show me the movies they love, because nobody else is purporting to be a super movie person. Everybody else is just a normal person. I'm over here being a little movie goblin junkie. So I want all the morsels. Num num num. Like, give me all the weird ones. And this is like in there. So I've been very excited to watch this again.
Oh, this part is excellent.
Oh, yeah, because that's him, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that face.
The Lovecraftian stuff that you were pointing out in the needle, the soy sauce,
mm-hmm.
is a drug that has some wibbly wobbly, timey wimey effects.
Oh, is it like the drug in Southland Tales?
I don't know. I think I have that movie, but I haven't seen it.
You like Donnie Darko?
Paul Walker, right?
No.
Oh no. Sean William Scott?
Yep. Yeah, and two of them. You get two Sean William Scotts. The Rock. No, as much as I don't like The Rock, I think he did okay, because he had a hard job to do in that role. But I think that Michelle Gellar is who knocks it out of the park. I quote, I'm not going to say it right now, it's a pretty vile line, but I quote it a lot. I probably shouldn't say it at all now that I'm saying this out loud. Who was Saint Christopher the saint of?
That's a good question.
I'll have that laptop eventually.
On a whole computer.
Yeah, I tried to do phone stuff, but I can hardwire it so it gets it off my dude. I hate to like promote like tech all of a sudden, but we both do sort of techie jobs. I'm going to go ahead and say I think Wi-Fi 6 is pretty impressive. I've never said that about Wi-Fi ever, and that's the only good thing about the new computer. All the other stuff is very outdated, but it had Wi-Fi 6. It's pretty beefy. I get faster internet speeds through Wi-Fi than I do hardwired. I had to pull the plug.
I have not really looked into it.
It's on the new AT&T fiber, but I also don't have the high speeds because they haven't put that in this area yet. I can't give them more. I'm like, please take more money from me and give me more internet. And they're like, we can't. It's not there yet. I'm like, what do you mean the internet's not here?
That's sad.
Give me your internet from your office and run a bunch of Ethernet cords, man.
Set up your own ISP. It's a thing. The internet's just out there. Just tap into it.
Look, man, do you know how many things I go, oh man, I could just, and then I sit there and go, I could do it. And then I start
into it a little bit. The infrastructure, you need at least 5 or 6 figures.
You can borrow it from a bank. You can get money.
That's true.
How many heist movies have we watched? I want to make
my own internet. Yeah, they'll give you that.
I'm working on some other projects right now oh man, okay, so let's talk about this effect real quick. when I was a young warthog, I used to be huge into magic, and I had almost every single David Copperfield special on videotape, and I watched them until they fell the hell apart. I can quote most of them by heart, like his whole patter, everything. He did a trick where he pulls out like a pipe, a pan, and he drips some black fluid into it, and he swirls this pan around, and all this liquid. It was, but this was 1992 or 3, so nobody knew what it was. Nobody had Amazon where they could order a vial of it, and so he swirls it around, and he puts a magnet on the back that makes it the shape of a triangle, so it just goes. It's the freakiest thing you've ever seen, man, and
That's
it
phenomenal.
Blew people's minds because. And if you ever watched Prestige, they go into this where like magicians would watch scientists and be up to snuff on engineering and know like what weird things that people don't know about yet. And that's an example of now there's a lot of stuff where they use the ferrofluid and just hold a magnet near it and they'll do those spikies.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what it's invented for?
What was that line? Any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
100%. Yes, exactly.
I like the corollary to that.
I don't like this monster.
Any technology that is distinguishable from magic is not sufficiently advanced.
Hang on. Yes. Okay. I agree.
If it doesn't look like magic, it's not good enough.
Yeah. Why? It's just mid.
Yeah. But no, I do not know why it was invented.
Ferrofluid was made because gasoline doesn't want to flow in space, and they were making additives that were magnetic so it could pull the gasoline along. It never did it, I don't think. I think it just didn't quite work. But then they just ended up with this weird goopy shit that you can move around with a magnet.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah. I don't like this little thing.
I do love this actor though. Doug Jones is fantastic.
Looks real familiar, yeah.
He very rarely looks like him. He was Abe in Hellboy. I believe he was the guy in The Shape of Water. I think Kevin brought him up on the Pan's Labyrinth episode. Yes, he's 2 or 3 characters in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. He's Guillermo's boy.
Yeah.
Love Abe Sapien. Love Abe Sapien. I love him so much. He's so like, I don't know. He's so hoity-toity. He's eating the green. I like him. I think he's cool. I actually like Shape of Water. I was into it. I was like, get it, girl. Go get what you want.
I passed on that one.
It's okay. Check it out. It's fine, man. I think it's cool. A little gross, but like as far as like it's green and everything's like slimy. Not the hooking up with the fish monster part. That's sexy.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Crimson Peak. I want to say another Guillermo del Toro movie that just popped into my head. It's a really neat one.
Okay.
It's got
I don't know that one.
Mia Wasikowska.
I'll write that one down. You see what I'm saying? That's what this is for.
Charlie Hunnam.
Oh yeah, Hunnam, Hoonan,
Jessica Chastain, Tom Hiddleston. Oh yeah, Jim Beaver. Wow. He's in Supernatural.
Is this like a relatively recent one?
And Derek Jones. No, it's 2015.
Okay, so that's still kind of early. Yeah, that cigarette lighter, baby. Just because you stop putting them in cars don't mean we don't still need them.
Right.
I had my first car.
Like
Illinois.
Bucket. Oh, does it say that?
Yeah, are they canonically in Illinois?
No, they are canonically in brackets undisclosed.
Okay, well, that's brackets undisclosed Illinois. Or he got that car in Illinois and nope. By then you would have kept your plates. Back when I was a kid, you kept the plate stayed with the car, which is weird. But talking about when I was younger, my first car that I had was a 78 Malibu, and it had a cigarette lighter that was the prettiest cigarette lighter you've ever seen. It was like brushed aluminum on the back and had nice knurling around the side. It looked fancy from Chevy, but it also was heavy. So you clunk it in, and yes, I'm a dirtbag. I was smoking, so I would have to use it. When it pops out, the whole thing would eject while you're driving. So what I would do is
shoot out.
Yeah, it like a party trick. So it had the ashtray underneath it because cars used to have ashtrays. The ashtray would just pull straight out, like out of the car. So I would plunk it in, pull the ashtray, and drive while I'm holding it like down
and just
under
hold it as a shield.
And what it would do is it would go kaplunk and land on the butt of it, and then I would light my smoke, And then I would put this,
Oh.
yeah.
And then you could slot it back in. Yeah.
Let it cool down, and then I can put it back in its place, man. Which
it's like Pee-wee's breakfast machine for lung cancer.
It was me and that car were simpatico right up until I destroyed it.
Ain't that how it goes?
Yeah. So I do want to talk about the look of this a little bit, because this is one of the things I think got it compared to some other stuff that was, it's not schlock. It's not, and I don't want to say any of it's bad. It's a style that I think came out of a lot of what they were using. So DV cameras were starting to get big around 2005, 2006. And you had a lot of people like Danny Boyle doing 28 Days Later with a camera that like any consumer could have got for like a few grand. And so this was also just after the Red camera came out, but Red wasn't really accessible. People had pre-ordered the Red cameras for forever. This was somewhere in between with on the higher end. I feel like it might have been the Sony high defs that they shot this on. I could be wrong. I'm not a super connoisseur on that. But if you'll notice how most people are very well lit, it has good staging so you can see everything. And it ends up taking like actual natural surroundings and make them look almost like a set, even though these are probably just rooms that they're in. And so it does give it sort of a look without digging into the director's style, because they can still have a style, but then have that look because of, if you shoot a movie on old 35 mil and don't light it very well, you make it look it's from the 70s. But this is indicative of, lesser budget movies of the time. This movie, it didn't tell me how much it cost to make. Wikipedia said less than $1 million, and it made 141,000. It might have been close to breaking, but also a studio like Magnet probably wasn't looking to make big at the theater. They wanted this for the catalog.
I wonder if this even had a theatrical release.
It did. It made 141,000.
Oh, okay.
It's a small one. It's a very small one. And I don't know how many theaters that was too. It could have been like 10 theaters. It played at Sundance, so it definitely got to play on some screens.
Yeah, I would love to see them make more of them, but they probably won't based on the success of this. But especially the second one, this book is full of spiders, would translate to the screen just very well.
Well, what you got to do is first announce it as a franchise, because people love franchises now. Number one. Number two, you have to get away from this this is good filmmaking. Like, none of this is bad. Every camera move, every cut is good. This is how you should do it. I don't want to say it looks like somebody came out of film school. It looks like somebody learned what they were doing and they weren't being all weird and artsy. What you need is somebody that's weird and artsy to make this thing and make it just nuts. It's called John Dies at the End. Let's go ham with this.
Who would you think? It's the first name that pops into my head would be Sam Raimi.
Well, here's the thing. Latter-day Sam Raimi, it's going to look a lot like this. His special effects are going to be good, and he's going to have a lot of those classic shots that he does. But if you look at how, not the Mouth of Madness, Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange, it's the guy. That movie had a lot of parts in it that look kind of like Spider-Man 1 and 2. Like, it looks like sets, like the side of a building, and you end up with this hyper realistic looking thing that almost looks like a soap opera but better frame rate. So I like Sam Raimi, and people would go in droves if he directed one of these. So I don't think that's a bad idea. I just want somebody that's a little grittier. Somebody
Lars von Trier.
Trying to think of who. I can't think of her name now. It's whoever did, I don't know, because she just did Saltburn too. The person that did Promising Young Woman, Saltburn, so I like for really staccato, really good editing, like really sharp stuff.
I haven't seen either of those.
I think I want it even grittier than that, though, like almost like a David Fincher, but his stuff is starting to look even more polished, like The Killer and stuff. Like if I could get like David Fincher back in the day when he made Seven, that's what this movie needs.
Yeah.
Really like industrial, like update.
But then being able to mix in the ridiculousness of it too, because that's one thing that's always covered on like the blurbs on the back of the books is like this is a horror movie. This is existential dread. Also, there's dick and fart jokes.
Then I know who should make it. I think it should be the screenplay should be handled by Seth Rogen and Evan Glaudel, and I think is it Glaudel? I'm sorry, I can't remember Seth Rogen's writing partner. He's very good. I love you guys very much. But what if this
Jordan Peele?
Oh, it'd be over the top. That's too much. That's too good.
Jordan Peele and Seth
That'd be
Rogen
amazing.
working together.
I just want him making anything, honestly. But oh my God, Monkey Man is gonna be crazy. Chad says Goldberg, I believe. Thank you very much. So that makes more sense than whatever word I said. Like these scenes look even better because they threw in like one Dutch angle from the top, but the lighting is so dynamic. This looks different than the rest of the movie. It also does a good job at handling outside lighting at night. That's tough, like street lights.
Yeah.
It's never, if it, when you watch a movie and it looks like it's nighttime and it's those orange street lights, it didn't look like, it wasn't actual street lights. They did that themselves, because if you try and film it when it's the real ones, it ain't gonna come out that way.
Yep. Oh, there was a line earlier in the scene with Doug Jones. That was another thing that they took from the book directly, when he's got the gun pointed at Doug Jones's character, and he says, "Are you familiar with the human phrase, 'I want to shoot you so bad my dick's hard'?"
You know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. A murder boner.
I believe he says his response is something along the lines of, "No, but I think I understand what it means."
I get the sentiment.
Yeah.
Context is all there. Marconi plays a mamba. Listen to the radio. Don't you remember? We built this city. Boo, 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 boo.
Wow. I couldn't put my finger on what that was.
Yeah.
You said Marconi does the mamba earlier.
I don't know who Marconi is. I just know he plays the mamba because I listen to the radio.
Oh, that Marconi. This Clancy Brown, I don't think he does much of a noteworthy voice or anything. Nothing super unique, but the audiobook decided to make him like New York Italian.
Hey!
I'm Marconi. I'm here to bust ghosts. You know?
Show me to the showgooth here.
They also had John kind of sounds like Jack Nicholson in the audiobook. It's really interesting.
Oh.
Hey, Dave, you got to get over here.
Oh, weird. That's all right. Oh, you know what? You know who should do the remake of this? Let's go Wes Anderson.
Oh, jeez.
Why not? This is John. John's gonna die. See?
Oh yeah, through the whole cast. This is Amy. She has one hand.
Yeah. Ah. I love him. He just did the Criterion Collection video where he picks out his favorites, and I like that one. His and Willem Dafoe's Willem Dafoe is so sweet, but so Giamatti is too, and I love. Oh my God, I don't know if I can set this up without spoiling it. There's a show on the internet, Chris Gethard.
I was actually just about to ask you if you had seen that
because of you. Yeah, and I've watched it like twice.
Okay, yeah. I've only watched 2 episodes of that show, and it's the ones where he has Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas on as guests. Exactly. Yeah, you can't talk about it without spoiling it.
Well, they have to decide. There's a box, and they have to decide.
Skip bin.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a dumpster. They have to guess what's in it based off nothing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think they're allowed to go back and forth and just ask questions about it.
Yep.
Yes or no questions.
That's a man. Sometimes I see someone do something, I think I could have done that if I would have had that idea first. And you know it's right and it's brilliant and you champion them on, but I feel like a twinge of why didn't I think of this? This is genius.
Did you watch the second appearance of Jason and Paul?
I don't think I did. I might have.
They do not know what to expect. They just show up, and then Chris Gethard comes out, introduces them, and then leaves.
Oh, I did watch that one.
And they're just like, okay, I guess
right.
We have the show today. And like they wind up taking the whole studio audience outside, walking around, talking to people, like doing a Vox Pop thing.
I would have run with that. Don't leave me with a microphone. That guy's really familiar too, but I don't know where he's from. Chad says Elliott Smith plays. No, it's gonna make me cry. I'm gonna cry at the Elliott Smith.
He's getting more of his time travel phone calls.
Mm-hmm. You got to think fourth dimensionally, man. I have to figure out a way to not scare you away from Back to the Future. I just
haven't.
Well, it's totally, and it has a look. If you didn't watch it when you were a kid, it's a little harder to jump back into a lot of stuff from back then. So it totally makes sense.
And I'll admit, a little bit of it is just contrarianism. Like, oh, it's so popular, and I still haven't watched it.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna.
Fair enough.
It's that whenever I've got 2 hours to sit down and watch a movie, it's just I have
you find something else
on my list every time. Yeah,
absolutely. I just rewatched it again the other night, and there's a thing that was said about it that I've heard somebody say, and I agreed to it the first time I heard it because I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's right. And it's that the point of the movie is that as long as you're rich, everything's okay. And because the end of it, something pops up. But then I went to watch it, and that was in my head. I didn't watch it to be like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I thought they were right. And so I was watching it thinking about it. And then like literally the point of the movie is said several times. And then I started looking up where that propagated from, saying that about the movie. And it was the guy in the movie that says the point of the movie, says it in a podcast interview like 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, and it really made me, oh no, his mustache has got away. It's flying around the room. Why did I remember this part? No, not on him. No, that's upsetting.
That's actual CGI this time. They've been doing practical for just about everything so far.
They did one shot of the face of the leech monster, the catfish looking thing, but it was like one flash.
Yeah, I think they were still probably holding a practical prop that just did like CG inside its mouth, it looked like.
You know what? You saying Sam Raimi with this scene right here?
Oh, yeah. Do the shot with the snake, the vine, Doc Ock's tentacle.
I mean, this is Evil Dead 2.
Yeah. And I like how there's still just no way to get around that as an actor with his arm in his sleeve. He just looks like he has an enormous shoulder on that side.
Looked good. I didn't even think about it. I wouldn't have even figured. I would have been like, do we got to get animatronics?
I mean, I guess you just put them in a green sleeve, right?
Well, again, talking about magic history, you can buy limbs that just kind of wiggle with a remote control. They're not that expensive.
Oh, I meant him afterwards, after the arm had been removed. How to make it.
Oh, I thought you meant the one he was wrestling was a dude in it.
Oh, no. I think that was actually some kind of animatronic.
Yeah, that's what I would have done.
Because it circled all the way, it like didn't have bones. No, I meant after the fact.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, it's either, okay, so they either got to tuck their arm in after the rip, or there's somebody that is missing an arm and they have to have a fake one on for a while, like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That's not a regular hot dog.
There, since the guy was just standing there.
There's something going on with that hot dog.
So here's something this happens in the book. The chapter is called the bratwurst prophecy, and it describes.
That's what's up with the hot dog. Jesus
Christ. He's illustrating that he's not talking to him through the cell phone.
I always wanted a hot dog phone. I ended up with a hamburger one. It was great. I loved it.
But so in the book, he describes going to McDonald's and getting a bratwurst, and he says, if getting a brat at McDonald's sounds weird to you, then you're obviously not from the Midwest. I've lived in the Midwest my entire life. I've never seen.
No.
And it makes me wonder
if he's Canadian,
just fucking with us, or like.
Or he's Canadian. But it does have to do with alternate dimensions.
That's true. This is not necessarily our Earth.
It looks like it has lettuce on the bratwurst. That's what I'm upset about.
Oh, yeah, it does. That's pretty weird.
That's not okay. I do a lot of not okay stuff with hot dogs. Like I'd be putting ketchup and stuff on some of them. I get it. It's weird. People don't like it. I have a trash mouth, but I'm not going to put wait. Yeah, it is one piece of lettuce. Thank you.
All right. That was he was trying to do. He's like, look in there. There's $100 bill. No, there's not. Ah, damn. I thought
that's what I tell my landlord every month. They're like, you didn't pay the rent. And I'm like, yeah, I did.
In the book, he specifies that he puts mustard on it because it felt weird not to, and then he had to put it on the side of his face. It just rang.
Chad says no. That's a thing in our reality. Confirmed McDonald's serves brats in at least Milwaukee. That is the Midwest. Okay. That's the pinnacle of Midwest. That's the gold standard of the Midwest. Well, think about it. Like, they got a statue to the guy, Fonz. So Happy Days was there. That 70s show was kind of there. There's a lot of stuff that when I was younger, I was like, I got to get to this Wisconsin. Everything's happening there.
And the city in that 70s show doesn't actually exist, right? Point Place?
Probably not. I
know they talk about Kenosha.
And Chad does say Milwaukee's right above Chicago. There you go.
I think the party got a little out of hand.
Ooh, nice hookah, dog.
So, after that backyard party, so I'm not sure how much is getting picked up. Everybody died. Everybody that went to go party with the Jamaican guy died.
He's is he sucking their souls? Oh, now he has next disease where he can see the very next thing that happens, like Nicolas Cage.
Wow, that movie turned out to have some really disappointing twist or ending, didn't it? I don't remember.
It had a lot of.
I told you I could never remember the endings of movies.
The majority of it's pretty rough to get through. It's not as fun as some of his other bad ones. So, it's fine. It's okay. It's unoffensive. I you know what, man? I had to tell you about something. I've tried twice now, and I just haven't had time to I always had to pause it and then come back later, and I kind of lose the momentum. You're one of the few people I've heard stand up for Snake Eyes, and
I've not seen Snake Eyes.
Why is it we end up talking about Snake Eyes when we're
I think I've recommended a couple gambling dramas to you.
Okay,
but I have not seen Snake Eyes.
Who was it?
Is that Laura Dern in that?
In Snake Eyes? No, it's Nicolas Cage and Melanie Griffith. Maybe is that? No, that's not Melanie Griffith. What? I can't remember who the girl is in that one. But it's Nicolas Cage and it's Gary Sinise and other people.
Not Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe.
Not that one. Definitely not that one.
Gary Sinise. Oh, Carla Gugino.
So this is more of the soy sauce.
Yeah, I love this bit. Turn it up for a second.
Yeah, you should watch Southland Tales, dog.
Oh no, he saw on the TV, the future TV, he got shot.
Yeah. Okay.
That hasn't happened yet. Okay.
He has to write a letter to himself. Oh no, not the coffee beans.
Yeah, man.
This is awful.
Will you don't take soy sauce. Soy sauce takes you.
Will it go in his ear?
They'll go.
Oh no, this is the bad sauce. I thought I went too far ahead in the future.
Wait, yeah. What are you thinking of?
I thought what was going to happen is his hot dog phone was going to turn into flying coffee bean phone, so one in the mouth and one in the. I thought that's where. And then I remembered it was the soy sauce.
Oh right.
The evil drugs. Can't shoot you for laying on the ground. That's a disadvantage for ranged weapons in Dungeons and Dragons. So come on.
That's true, but he'll be able to beat you with his fists a little easier.
It's true. He has to switch over to melee. I don't know if he has a feat so he can put away his gun within his action.
I mean, in 5e, I think you can do that just simultaneously.
Mostly, DMs are like, I don't give a shit. Just get your other sword out. Yeah. Well, what are we doing here? Do you ever
the Big Bang in the book gets mentioned too? Because he's like, ever since the Big Bang, we shouldn't be surprised by anything. There was nothing, and then everything.
It's everything.
That, nothing should surprise anyone.
The Big Bang. Are we back to teaching that? Because for a while we weren't. Hi. Oh, Boise.
I'm not sure. sure. I didn't realize they stopped teaching it.
Well, so for a hot minute, string theory was really, really popular. And I don't know if it, because here's the thing too, like, school books are like never updated. So it's not like if they did change stuff, it would trickle down fast enough to make a difference. But then I heard that they quit actually teaching it for like maybe like 4 or 5 years. I could be wrong about that, but I think we're back to having the Big Bang Theory. I think a part of it was because you remember how they got together like $3 billion and made the CERN, that Large Hadron Collider. The first time they turned it on, it didn't do anything. It was a real fucking bummer in the newspapers, man, because I was kind of keeping up with it. I was pretty interested in this thing. Of course it works. Of course they can do stuff now. Of course they're able to replicate some things. It's a feat, a marvel of human engineering. I just don't know I don't know how I feel about this whole Big Bang Theory being taught as like this is the thing. When you're a kid, you're like, this is the thing.
It's the thing that best fits what we can observe. I think is how they try to phrase it. Of course, everyone just takes it as this is what happened, but of course we can't. Be certain about that.
And I understand where it comes from. It's just there's like a handful of things that. Unless you got pow, you haven't seen that shit. Oh boy, I'm so excited. Like I don't want to start talking about it now because we will really get derailed. So I'm like, every time I think about it and I choke it back. But talking about the Big Bang Theory, the thing that kind of fascinates me just a little bit is that, all right, it's going to get a little heady. I'm going to apologize to everybody right now. I am not condoning, endorsing any pro, against, or anything like that. This is an interesting observation that I had, and I don't know that it actually changes what I think about it, and it shouldn't for you because I only know how to talk over movies. So there's a thing called the conservation of angular momentum, and you can see it. It's so any object that's in motion, when it breaks apart into smaller objects, continues on the same path of motion until it meets the force of resistance. So like if you get like a merry-go-round and you put a bunch of fourth graders on it and you hook up a car to it and you just start driving it, eventually those kids are going to fly off of it. So if it's going, say, clockwise, they're going to come off of it clockwise until they meet resistance, like a foam pole or a parked car or something. And if that's the case, we have stuff going the other direction. What I'm going to say is, I think we need to leave room for forces we don't understand yet. And you can call them whatever you would like. And it could be science. It could be something else. I just think I think we need to lean a little heavier on the fact that we are kind of playing with hubris when we talk about some of these huge, huge things. And I think they should talk about where it comes from versus just telling you like a paragraph at the beginning of every science book that we all came from a period no bigger than the end of the period at the end of the sentence. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying there's a little room for magic. I love that tie too. I wanted to say it earlier. I don't know if it's like ribbed actually, or if it's a print, but I would ask him, can I touch your tie if I met a man with that tie? He's also in a ton of stuff. I recognize him from, and he kind of plays a dude in a suit that's very serious in the other things he plays too. That's why I'm just blanking on him.
Good at it. I don't think I recognize him.
Do I have Glenn Turman? I have this on Amazon.
Oh yeah, you've got X-ray.
I don't think I can switch to the stuff without it stopping. So I'll look them up when we take the break. We are about a minute and a half away from, so do be prepared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning back towards Seth Rogen having a plan, because this does remind me of Preacher, Future Man. What's the other one that they did? I can't remember now, but I feel like for years those two were testing shows to get to the point of Preacher, because I don't think that when I was in high school we read the comics of it, so like in the like late 90s early 2000s, and we were like, no one could ever make a movie from this, and then they made a damn show out of it, and we were like, I nailed it.
And that Seth Rogen was on. He did Preacher.
They produced it and did a lot of writing on it, and so that his company produced that and a bunch of others. If you haven't checked out Future Man, I highly recommend it. It is so funny, in the vein of like the
Future Man,
the rat holes.
I was trying to get Sarah to watch that with me, and of course she's not gonna like that. At like the one scene where he's just coming all over himself.
She's not gonna like that one. I can tell you right now. I don't know everything about Sarah, but I know she will not like that one based on limited knowledge. It's fine. But I think that they did that as like a test. Oh, and then now Chad said, I was gonna say it. This is why he's the king of clutch. The boys. So it's like they've been progressively getting wilder until they got to the point of the boys, which is like
actually, yeah, that's a perfect point of comparison, because that is gruesome and intense, and also dick jokes.
Absolutely. That doorknob, Jesus. It was a honker too, huh? Good for him.
Right. Congratulations.
Yeah, very Mazel Tov.
Meat monster.
All right, we're a little past the hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna count us down. And we'll pause on 3. 1, 2, 3. I never do a countdown to stop. Why did I do that? That was weird. Oh, I nailed it. 1 hour 17 is where we're at. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break. There's gonna be a timer. It's longer than you think it is. Don't run. Most accidents happen in your home. Wash your hands. We'll come back. We'll talk, and then we'll finish this bad boy up, huh? Alrighty.
Oh, hello, Michael. I'm Trent's heavy metal Alexa. He's still in the bathroom. He asked me to vamp for a moment. How are you enjoying the movie so far?
Hi, how's it going, heavy metal Alexa?
Well, but very well. Yeah, it's a little rainy today, but nice outside.
That's good. I think the rain can't be good for you, right? Fry your circuits, what have you.
No, I go for a roll in it every now and then. I'm pretty well waterproofed. I used to go to a lot of gore concerts in my younger days, and you had to protect from all the fake blood and sputum and vomit and stuff. So my internals are pretty well sealed up. I seem to be okay. And then
That's pretty metal.
yeah, and then Trent throws me in the dryer every now and then. I clunk around, and here we go, ready for the show. So, I wanted to ask you if you were going to recommend a follow-up movie to this. Say, if you were going to do a double feature grindhouse one night with somebody, what would you play after John dies at the end?
Oh man, wish I had some time to prepare for that. That's a very good question.
I know, it's almost like I only thought of the question in enough time that didn't give you enough time to think.
That's good. Yeah.
It's almost as if the premise of this was a bad
idea. You know what? I've got it.
Oh, yeah?
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh my! Cabin in the Woods. You know who my favorite character in the Cabin in the Woods series or movie is?
The Merman.
The puzzle box. Well, anyway, that's all the time that we've got for this segment. Trent's coming back. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Good to meet you.
Okay, we don't have time to talk about what just happened. There's no time. The show must go on. All right, you ready, buddy? We're gonna cue this back up. We're gonna do the same thing. Second verse, same as the first. We're gonna do that 3, 2, 1, go and go on go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. So real quick, you and I were talking a little while ago before we stepped away. I'm getting to share so many things with a lot of my other friends that I've never gotten to share before, and it's the thing of save it for the podcast. Because like Nate and I have been podcasting for a long time, and we had just become friends, and so we wouldn't talk to each other until it was like podcasting time. Same thing with Bill, who I did podcasts with, and we would see each other and hang out and be like, oh, I got to tell you about this thing, and we go save it for the podcast. Everything's content.
Yep.
But you were saying,
I hear that a lot on other part. Anyway, yeah. So I was saying the other book series, Zoe Ash. So it starts with futuristic violence and fancy suits. I didn't have enough time to confirm this, but I think they were making a TV show based on it, which it makes sense. I don't think we'd see a remake of this based on the performance I had in the theater.
Well, hang on. We've had stuff where they take another stab at it. I mean, I'm trying to think
That's true. I mean, even Morbius got a second shot.
There you go. I'm trying to think of ones that they like made and then they like remade. I know there's a bunch of them. Yeah, you get on the camera, you get on the mic, and everything just whoop pops out. But there's been some where they've done a second try, but I don't know of any success stories on that. Yeah. So,
well, but the Zoe Ash book series, I think, has been more commercially successful than the John Dies at the End series.
Okay. So there might be a market for that.
A little bit more mass appeal, because the story is basically this girl who is estranged from her father finds out he dies, and he is like a trillionaire.
It's convenient. She become a Batman.
Futuristic violence and fancy suits. So
so the money's not as much then. It's only like a few grand.
Yeah. He built an entire city and ran it, and there's like criminal aspects. And,
ooh, that's cool.
So she goes into this world to try and figure it out, hates it, but a big aspect of it is that everybody is recording everything all the time. So
it's a Big Brother kind of stuff, some 1984
social media commentary type stuff, where like her life is basically a TV show because people are trying to follow what's going on.
Whoa, that's like a Black Mirror episode or something.
And actually, there's one casting in that it was the first character or the first actor who popped into my head when I was reading it, because there's these characters called the Suits that are where her father's like inner circle. It's like these two
like
guys
they run her council or whatever.
Yeah, and one of them would be absolutely perfect to be played by Mark Evan Jackson.
Okay.
I guess I don't have much more to say to that. If you haven't read the book, it'd just be perfect for it. The deadpan and hilarious.
You know what, man? I'm glad you said that. I all the time look at people and think when I always say when I remake it, and when I remake Smokey and the Bandit will be Pedro Pascal. I need the internet's help for this. I need to get hashtag Pedro for Bandit. The Sheriff Buford T. Justice, Clancy Brown. Now this is gonna be a weird one. Big and Little Enos Burdett is gonna be I'm thinking David Koechner for Big Enos, and Little Enos will be I can't remember the guy's name. Who's the guy? He was in The Office, and he was in Inglourious Bastards. He's one of the bastards. He's the one they say the little man, and he's like, the Nazis have a nickname for me, and I'm the little man.
BJ Novak?
Yes, he's Little Enos because he's not that small.
David Koechner also in The Office.
Yeah, and he was in The Office, but he's so tall, and BJ's like a normal height dude, but like the fact that everyone would call him Little Enos would be hysterical. And it's going to be like a hard R horror. It's going to be like Joyride, where like Clancy Brown is like his character in the second Pet Cemetery. And he's like and he's not going to be undead, but he's going to be like trying to murder the bandit.
Did you say Joyride is like a hard R horror?
No, I said it was going to be, my bandit will be a hard R, but it'll be like Joyride in that they're being chased to death, as opposed to if we catch him, he goes to jail, or he doesn't win the bet, or we don't get to have a laughing fit at the end of the movie if he gets caught. If my Sheriff Justice, played by Clancy Brown, catches the Pedro Pascal bandit, he will kill him. And his son, Junior, gonna be James Marsden. Oh my God, this is gonna be the pairing no one asked for. But I need help, internet. I need help. I need hashtag for Pedro for Bandit. I need this. He looks like anyway.
Ridiculous pairing. I was trying to see real quick before we came back on if I could find any information about the Zoe Ash TV series, and I just found an old blurb someone had written about the book and the character, and they described her as a combination of they said it's Diablo Cody meets the Fast franchise.
What does it mean? It's evocative. Like, no one knows what it means.
It's Juno drift racing. It's that vibe.
I'm down for, which is kind of the Bourning series, the Norwegian Fast and Furious, where like I think she's pregnant in the first one, and he's racing to get her to the hospital, but they flip the car and her water breaks.
Oh wow.
Dude, Norwegians are killing it, man. They're making some good stuff, man. Their cinema's pretty popping, and a lot of good comedy, like Coen Brothers level comedy. You would get down for. We watched a movie this week called A Gentle Kind of Man. It's got Stellar Skateboard in it, and a handful of people I recognize from stuff. It's very Coen Brothers, like dry comedy and sad, but like funny. It's highly recommend it.
I'm starting to really like Stellar Skateboard. I hadn't seen it in too many things, and then Dune. I just watched Andor. He's great in that.
I love his character in Andor. Chad says it gets the people going. so yeah, no. I do as well. I used to think he was fairly pretentious, like a he's the guy that directed all the who's doing the Hercule Poirot movies now, Branagh. I always felt like Branagh felt a little too hoity-toity, but I think he gets it. But I know Stellar Stellan Skarsgård, I know he gets it, and he knows how. I actually
said his name.
I can't not. I'm stealing that from F-Tomp. It's too ingrained in me. I wonder if this is the mall from.
I think that started on. That was a How Did This Get Made?
Mm-hmm. It was F-Tomp said, he said every time he tried to text Stellan Skarsgård, it corrected it to Stellar Skateboard. And now I can't not call him Stellar Skateboard.
I wonder if that's still happening on his Wikipedia page, if people keep changing it back to Stellar Skateboard. The most how long as a famous person do you fight that fight before you just give up?
I don't know, because I edited Wikipedia once and they erased it. I edited the entry for pillow talking because I don't like pillow talking. And so one day I was like, I got a whole thing with it. I'm not going to do it right now, but I was like, everyone can edit this. That's what Wikipedia is supposed to be. So I was like, screw it. And I was like, Trent from Talladega, Alabama does not believe in pillow talking. Submit. And of course,
what you got to do is you got to put a blog post up where you say that and then link it as a citation.
Oh, you're right.
Got to game the system.
Yeah. Okay, do-over. There's a handful of things that I've put out on the internet that people are like, it's very clear to me that there's this ionosphere around me that I'm not allowed to puncture through because my God, I've tried every which way I can. I had a review on Netflix get taken down. Now it had no swear words in it, but I watched J. Edgar, the Leo DiCaprio. Yeah, I watched that biopic, and it's one of the few movies that have infuriated me, and I don't remember why I was this mad because I've never written a review for a movie ever. I don't review like products. I just don't do that. And I felt like I needed to tell the world how mad I was about this movie.
Just furious that you spent time on it that you'll never get back.
And they took it down. Cowards.
I had a weird thing happen the other day with not a Google review with a business's hours. On Google, it said they were open all day. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I get there well within that window and they're closed. There's a phone number on the sign, so I text the owner, and he says, "Oh yeah, we don't open until 5 p.m. on Tuesdays." So while I was sitting in the parking lot getting frustrated, I went on Google and I was like, "Oh no, they're actually closed on Tuesday. You've got this wrong." It updated. It switched to closed. Talked to the guy the next day when I went into the business, and he said, "Yo, yeah, I've been fighting that fight for years. Every time I change it, it goes back. I tried to change it just now, and they made me send in a sign of the picture." I'm like, they made the change that I submitted, and I'm nobody, and you, the business owner, had to put in proof to change it.
My God!
If I looked it up right now, it'd probably be back to the full day hours.
I wish we could just slap stupid
people. The online
people.
review space is the Wild West, I guess, is the point.
It is, man. It is. It's where I've been existing for a long, long time, man. That's why it allowed me to be a DJ, which is what I wanted to be when I was a kid. It allowed me to, but I can say the F word.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is of its time. Anybody remember Constantine when all the bugs came out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This CG is very of its ilk. And you know what? I don't think it looks that bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks that bad. That's pretty good.
Not a hard one to animate.
No.
This is straight from the books. The flies of the white horrifying flies.
Chad said, "Jimmy Wong, no."
He's got John dies at the end, Mulan, and Command Zone.
Let's go. These one shots are very like indie filmmaker now. This has got to be shot on.
Yeah.
This is if it's I don't know what since I don't know what less than $1 million cost. It actually probably wasn't Sony high defs then. I'm actually going to wager 2010. This is the. They wouldn't have done XLR. They wouldn't have done Rebels. I want to say. Like an HVX or something. I'm not even gonna. If I didn't Google the other guy, I'm not checking. Yeah, I got kind of a thing for it because and mostly it's for lower production movies because I'm interested to see how. Because some of those cameras were supposed to come out and be like the end all be all for independent filmmaking. And they were great for the price point, but they all kind of look the same. And they were like, oh, it's the digital equivalent of 16 millimeter. The red was supposed to be digital equivalent of 35. And I don't think that they came out exactly looking like that. I think they have their own look. And if you watch, like, say, Robert Rodriguez used them a bunch. He was big with the Sony high defs. I think it was his cameras he shot Once Upon a Time in Mexico with. He made most of Sin City in his garage. So he just had those cameras. So it has a little bit of that orange stuff. Michael Mann, a lot of his stuff has an orange look to it, like Latter Day, like Collateral is big time like that. This kind of looks like Collateral, but it's like, what, 10 years later, 5 years later?
Like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I checked Constantine, by the way, was 2005, 7 years before this.
There you go. Well, then it would have been like big budget WB, but by this point now, like smaller filmmakers could have used that tech. It would have been in some. It was probably After Effects if it was 2010 to 2012, somewhere in there. They would have been using After Effects by 2010, so probably 2000. Yeah, probably 10, maybe a little bit earlier than that.
Oh, you reminded me when you said Robert Rodriguez. Something I thought of a while ago. Have you seen Lady Snowblood?
I know the name. No, I haven't seen it. It's good.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
It's from 1973, I want to say. It's the Japanese movie.
Okay.
I watched the trailer for it the other day, and if I didn't know what it was, I would think it was a Tarantino movie.
Okay.
It's the very direct inspiration for Kill Bill.
I know why I heard it, because I just got another auto mod. So for starters, I don't want to miss this. Chad said I should have played a blue counterspell card. That's a good call. The auto mod has held your next message, buddy, because he said Lady Snowblood fucks. I'm going to allow this one, but you're on a thin leash, counselor. He said the F word earlier. Let me scroll back.
Ooh.
Did I approve it with an ing and then not with the base form of it? Did I make up that he swore earlier?
Does it make you get that specific with it?
Yeah, he added ing. So without the ing, it said Lady Snowblood's on the list. This is what I'm talking about. Michael throws this stuff at me. Chad also, that's how I knew it, is he was like, you should check it out. This doesn't look good at all. I'm sorry.
Well, they got here through a secret invisible door in the mall.
It's so gross.
They could only open with the phantom hand.
Like, it looks like Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah.
Lady Snowblood.
Jones gonna give him the Brood Witch.
Now, you know, so he had the handmade weapons. He had the baseball bat with the nails, and he was going through the axes earlier.
Wrapped in the Old Testament pages.
What, you told me there were some other weapons in some of the other books in the series that are like bananas, like weird shotguns and stuff.
Oh yeah, in the newest book, if this book exists, you're in the wrong universe. He describes a shotgun. Marconi.
Yeah, he plays the Mamba.
He's got a great look.
Because I listen to the radio. Don't you remember?
It's five shotguns strapped together, each with bayonets and each with a laser sight.
Who could hold that?
To it. Well, it describes him using it eventually, and it describes him trying to pull as many triggers as possible and getting like 3 of them. And he says it's got to be high quality because the guy sold it to him for $75.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for 5 shotguns? Yeah. I would have bought it and took them apart and sold 4 of them. Had a free shotgun.
Lead pipes duct taped to a board with a nail and a spring, you know.
See, this right here, this dialogue, this stuff that we're doing, yeah, it does need somebody that can handle like high grade, not schlock. This is whatever, you know, a Buckaroo Banzai is. This is high, you know, this is high, not theory, but like high concept sci-fi, even though it's so grounded in just doofy regular idiots. They're not people in Star Wars who speak properly and you know, are very, have their morals are very high. These are real people. That's what makes some of these stories so awesome.
Just real excited about the explosion, because I kind of missed what he said. Did he say it'll really fuck shit up? I smiled about that.
Oh man, just quick shots of this. Just quick shots of it.
I like how I feel like
don't show it too long.
Took a fair amount of things from the Matrix. This obviously the direct comparison with the mirror and everything, but even Marconi's whole look, just those thin
the
black
glasses
and the slick back hair.
That was a problem for a long time. So I was at Blockbuster. I would notice like there was tons of like B action movies that would have a blurb on the cover better than the Matrix, like Equilibrium with Christian Bale said better than the Matrix. I'm like, all right, dog, hold on. I could be wrong. Hey, tits. I could be wrong, but I think that Ballistic X versus Sever with Antonio Banderas
and Lucy Liu.
I think that said better than the Matrix on the like cardboard DVD cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were aping it, and oh god, everybody's wearing window licker masks. Those are upsetting.
Uh-huh.
This is like a who's the guy that did like The Lighthouse and all those other movies?
Lars von Trier.
yeah.
He's got the brat in the mosaic.
Robert Eggers, thank you, Chad. Keen Clutch. Oh yeah. He's holding a warlock in that I mean, there's like a bunch of old paintings of kings where or at least one where you've probably seen it before. He's like a really big guy, but he has itty bitty little legs. And it's because that king he wasn't going to stick around for the rest of he had shit to do. So he just found like the best looking legs of whoever like worked at the castle.
And just did those.
Yeah. He's like, you stand in for me. That way everybody will think that my legs are mine.
Yeah.
Church has changed. I haven't been in a minute. I don't want to wear a suit though. It's hot in church.
They in the book there's a point where they get into or I think Amy's like yells at them to stop their dick measuring contest, and so John says, well, it wouldn't even be a competition. I could show you I'll show you mine right now, but we don't have time. Dave, wait, what? We don't have time? It's like, yeah, because it takes so long to see all of it.
That's not where I thought that was gonna go. That's way better. Just to give you a little taste of Roadhouse. So at one point in time, there's like 5 dudes beating up Patrick Swayze. It's so loud that blind guitarist Jeff Healey, Canadian institution, goes outside to hear the fight, I guess. But then Sam Elliott shows up, best friend of that's upsetting. Is that your picture? That's awful. Anyway, Sam Elliott shows up and then he's like, hey, how's it going, mijo? And then he turns to the biggest dude there and the guy goes, what's going on, dickless? He goes, well, I'm not going to show you my dick, that's for sure. And he like kneels down and does a Johnny Cage where he punches him right in the dick. And then he like steps on his knee and just takes him down. It's raw, man. Like the whole movie, with the exception of like 3 people, are stunt people. Like the director was a stuntman, Roddy Harrington.
Oh, like the whole
cast,
stunt people throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like the most employed, like the movie with the most stuntmen in it for like so many years. Like it held that record for so long. And then when they made a musical of it, they called it a brawlsicle.
Oh, this part here.
This is awful. So here's what I want to talk about real quick. I think that if I went to work for MI6 or no, the IMF, Impossible Mission Force, I would be the guy that edits the videos that self-destruct, because these guys have a hell of a graphic designer. Look at this. It turns into art because it had the timeline up on their projector. It's who sits there and makes these for the big evil moment. That's what I think about. I want to be that guy. I could totally do that.
I love the sound effects.
The boink.
Yeah.
This
is them killing all the enemies of progress, Minority Report style.
Oh.
Genociding everyone who would in the future.
Yeah. Well, you can see that the ball's going to roll off the table. I've seen that movie way too many times. I don't think anyone
I saw it once long enough ago that it would be new to me if I watched it again.
It's one of the ones I would put in from time to time because it's got a really good color bias. Spielberg did 3 movies that he wanted to make have a similar color palette, and so he did that one, AI, and Catch Me If You Can. And so they're a little more lighter, especially it's all like overexposed and blown out in Minority Report, but then the other ones are still on the lighter side but toned back a little bit. And that was his he just ripped those 3 out real quick and I like them. Well, AI, I own it. I don't know why I own it. I don't remember buying it.
It was AI, Minority Report. What was the third one you said?
Catch Me If You Can.
Okay, I have seen Catch Me If You
Can. I've fallen asleep to that DVD menu so many times. See, like this is straight. Oh, whoa! Haven't we?
SUV.
A long time ago.
They do a Minority Report thing where Carrie Kenny is the precog.
Okay. Okay. I think they also Venture Brothers does a thing. The precogs were really fun to make fun of. So didn't we play in a Power Rangers Dungeons and Dragons that had kind of this in a ball pit in a funhouse?
Yeah, I don't know that it was one big monster, or yeah, it was. I mean, it was a Power Rangers monster. It was anthropomorphic.
Chad said yes, he was the DM.
Yeah.
We fought some weird shit, y'all. You can thank us. Solid. We have kept the universe, the galaxy, the multiverse. We've kept the Forgotten Realms. We have saved so many places.
Of Angel Grove.
Angel Grove is safe thanks to us. Who else have we saved? We're not safe.
Dale. We saved like 2 of the 10 towns.
Yeah, we did great. Yeah, we tried, man. Chad said, yeah, Pineapple's the clown. That's right.
I attempted to invest infrastructure, but
you did. Yeah, you lost out on that investment. Oh, that was a good. Some of this is really good. Because it's so weird looking. They're kind of pulling some of it off. But the biggest problem here is that they're doing green screen, and when you do green screen, the secret to good green screen is a hell of a lot of light. And so you can see the backlighting on them, even though they're literally standing in those spotlights that are over the walkway. It would look like him because it's coming from a direction, whereas they're got light that's omnidirectional because they have it everywhere. So it's little things like that you can do kind of for free. The problem is they're trying to make it look as good as you can, and they're doing that.
Yeah, well, they're mixing in, like, I think that was practical. Well, they grabbed him and then cut to.
But the secret is you gotta like make it look a little shitty. Like people be like, oh, it's not as good as it would be, but then it would be so natural you're not gonna realize what it is they're doing. That eye is upsetting. Ah, yeah.
In the book, this was a super soaker.
Dog, I'm gonna drop one on you that's at the level of like collector. You want a back pocket hit that not everybody's gonna fuck with? Like, I'm talking, this is rarefied air. This is next level shit. If you want something that might upset you for like years, Bellflower.
Don't oversell it.
Bellflower.
I don't know that I want to be upset for several years. Is that like a Von Trier who's
there's a couple of guys from Wisconsin went out to California and made an indie film, built their camera, built a car for the movie, and it broke down when they were taking it through all the movie like the film festivals, and they didn't have enough money to fix the car for Bellflower, which if you see when we get done, you should definitely check out. I'll link it later so that way you can peep it tomorrow or something, the trailer for it. But in the trailer there's this car that's like blowing fire out of it, and so they took it with them to the different places. It broke down, they needed money, and Sean Puff Daddy Combs was at this film festival, and he was like, I assume the conversation was like, oh, that's sad that your car broke, dog. How about I help you out? And he just gave him some money. And so there's a plaque on under the hood of this car that says this car partially paid for by Sean Puff Daddy Combs.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Bellflower. It is not for bubblegummers. Do not go into Bellflower thinking, oh, this is going to be light and whimsical, because it starts light and whimsical. And that's where I got the term the Bellflower effect from. That's why we take a break at the hour mark.
I think I've heard you say that. Yeah.
It's like not quite like pro level. It's like semi-pro, like high semi-pro. You're going to be fine.
Semi-pro, another movie I haven't seen.
I don't. I think it was fine. He went on a run of movies I wasn't crazy about. It
was pretty middle of the road.
Well, he's done so many good ones. It's really hard for him to jump his own shark again, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather just watch, like, Step Brothers again.
See, I want to touch his tie, too.
Yeah. Clancy Brown is so good.
I love him. Marconi plays the Mamba.
Stuff, and I enjoy that Sarah regularly forgets that he's also Mr. Krabs.
So I either didn't know that or forgot that, and I'm glad that you said that.
There you go. Clancy Brown's Mr. Krabs.
He's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I have a theory that he's like maybe getting ready to retire or something, or all the cool mommies and daddies have grown up that are making movies now, and they're like, oh, let's put him in it because he's doing so many cameos and small stuff, and he just, you know, like I see, show up in Ahsoka, and he's everywhere. I remember the other thing I put on that
pulling a Danny Trejo.
Yeah,
asked him to be in their film.
Hell yeah, I forgot that he did that a lot. He's such a lovely man. He's such a nice man. Danny Trejo. My favorite thing about him is he was in Con Air, and a lot of tough guys in Con Air, and John Malkovich. And then they ask him, who do you think?
Tough guys and John Malkovich.
Yeah. And he asked, sorry, you know him, right? It's Watch Rounders. Anyway, so they asked him, like an interviewer was like, who's the toughest out of all these tough people? And he was like, John Cusack, man. He's like, there's something in those eyes. He's scared of John Cusack.
Yeah, I love that.
I kind of trust him. I think Danny knows.
I mean, Gross Point Blank, you can see it.
The only problem with John Cusack I have is that he runs weird, and Gross Point Blank shows it better than any other movie. When he's running from his old home that's now a gas station or convenience store, watch him run. It's in slow-mo. That movie shows it. He doesn't run far in movies, but when he does, it's like he doesn't, his arms go and his legs go.
Sure how. I don't know what to do with my hands.
And hey, John, I know you're a big fan of the TalkOver. I'm much worse at running. I have no leg to stand on. It's just they shouldn't have shot you that way. You're still great.
They did you dirty, John.
They did, absolutely. At least they didn't kill you at the end like this one. I'm
trying to think if there are any other ridiculous weapons. And so the second book, I don't know that they get into ridiculous weapons like that. They just take ridiculous real weapons. It's
like big machine guns and over the top.
Really oversimplified way of explaining it. At its center, there is kind of a zombie thing going on.
Okay. We had all the like reanimated people, like the head sewn back on and stuff like that too, already in this one.
And there's a group of like college nerds who have a bunch of mall ninja shit, and they're like all excited going in with their dragon's breath rounds and their shotguns with their big drums and everything, but they're being nerdy dicks about it, like showing off on the RV while they're going to the place or whatever. Like, these shells are like $5 a round.
Or like the ones that have like a chain link in them, or like spiky balls. So like, I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to dox them because of what this is about. I know somebody. I'm from Alabama, so yes, I know avid gun collectors, and I knew a guy that picked up a gun called a street sweeper. And what it is, you've seen that, right?
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing about.
It's just a tube with a giant drum of shotgun shells. And
exactly. So it actually was made illegal for a hot minute, and he still had it. And he was like, I'm going to have to like throw this in a lake because I can't sell it. And he is one of the people that is very serious about like paying the tax stamps and like owning it for a collection to shoot for target shooting and things like that. He's not going to like knock out down a liquor store with this thing. You also wouldn't want to, because
got like a CNC license.
That's the hardest trigger I've ever pulled in my life. Yeah. I almost couldn't. Like, I had to put 2 fingers on the trigger and it just barely pulled. And then when it went off, it's a shotgun. It's not a good gun.
A double action revolver.
No,
that would be the hardest trigger pull.
No, it's not even close. Generally. Like, not even close to that. It's like pulling. It's like as if you put a bolt through it and couldn't pull. It's like trying to put your finger on your desk and try and pull the trigger of your
leverage
desk.
On it.
I took 2 fingers. Like, it's not even close to like that. And it's kind of a terrible weapon, if I'm being quite honest with you. And then it became legal again. They changed a few laws, and then he sold it because he was really. I felt bad because I was like, "This is cool," and it was not cool. The whole experience of that was not fun.
I held recently. It wasn't a Kel-Tec. I don't know. It was the shotgun that John Wick uses in the first movie when he jumps up on the SUV and shoots through the windshield.
Okay.
You know, the big. It's got like.
Is it like
2 tubes?
It's like a semi-automatic or a pump, the one you can switch between.
It's only pump. It's just that its big gimmick is that it has 2 magazine tubes, so it holds like 32 shells without a drum.
That sounds illegal as hell.
And it's
that's a lot of shotgun shells.
It's not. I mean, it is now in certain places.
I was gonna say,
but the stock is like that fucking wide, and on your shoulder. And I was holding it, and it has no sights on it, just the rail. And I tried to get it up to my eyes, and I was like, I commented on how it's so hard to get your eyes down to it. And the guy's like, "What are you talking about? You're not looking down the sights when you're using this."
Nope, I'm not.
You're just. This is to
I'm
pretend
gonna
you're
cock
John
my
Wick
head over
and just,
here, and we're just gonna
yeah.
play guessing games. I got 32 of these things, man.
It's just just so big.
And I spent $150, so it's full of the fire breath ones. And I dumped my dead wife's wedding ring in the end of it because I'm the Crow.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Illinois, both the plates.
It's another remake we're getting. Yeah.
We're getting a remake. I did read about that. I'm in. I love the Crow.
I can't remember who was supposed to be in that.
I like Crow 2. I have totally watched the third one, and I would. Oh, that's like Alex Mack. They should have. Oh no. Chat says Billy Skateboard is the Crow. Billy Skateboard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Bill Skarsgård. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
he's gonna be great.
Pennywise is gonna be the Crow.
He would be. I think he'll do okay. I think I would rather
have to change the makeup. Just switch the red to black.
What's the really tall Skarsgård that is in like True Blood and Succession and he's
Alexander.
Younger? Yeah, he would be a good Crow.
The Northman.
Yeah, Chad said Alex thanks. Yeah, Northman. I think he would be a good Crow too because he's kind of a little lanky. Because Brandon Lee was a little on the thin side, and I think it was a good look for him. Whoever did it in the third one, I'm not wild about. Obviously, it wasn't Brandon Lee in the second one. I don't remember who the second one is, but I have a weird affinity for the second one. I think Kirsten Dunst is in the third one, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
I didn't know they even made that many.
It's not good. It's real watered down. It's like made for TV almost. Boy, these credits are getting out of hand.
This is the epilogue of the book. This is pretty direct.
This is efficient. There's a lot of storytelling. Why? I don't like those things.
Same one of those guys, yeah.
This is a great idea. Just more story while the credits are going.
Yeah, they always kind of like when the next story comes around, like in the next book, they're always like, they talk about it as if they have had a bunch of other cases in the meantime. Like now they're known as these supernatural guys.
They're vegans. They have vegan power. I'm in love with this. There's a lot of story happening during the out credits.
I do like this a lot more.
This is genius.
Doing a whole post-credit scene, just cut it in between.
Yeah, and everybody sticks around for your credits. Oh, you can tell he's like, that's a good shot. That's good. That's real good. Funny story. I kill watch batteries faster than most humans, like maybe a month.
How's that? I did one of those eco drives.
I did. I had a Citizen Eco Drive. It was the Blue Angels one, and it was the most expensive watch I'd ever had. And I worked at a factory, and I destroyed that thing.
Oh no!
So I will never spend that much on a watch again. Right now, I have a solar one.
Yeah, I have a Citizen Eco Drive that I got as a graduation present, and it's gold. And
that's in style now.
Well, I guess maybe it is.
Yeah, get it clean. That'd be flash.
But I just never wear watches.
I
bought a couple throughout the years. I bought a couple smart watches when Pebble was the first one. I had a couple versions of the Pebble, but I always wind up just wearing them for like a year or two, getting sick of it, and then stop, and it turns out to be a waste of money.
It's recommending stay tuned after this. Oh man, the Jeffrey Jones classic, I think. No, I'm thinking of Mom and Dad Save the. No, maybe I am thinking of that. So yeah, and I also too for a time didn't wear the watches, and I didn't. It's because I killed watch batteries. Like I tried wearing like Fossil watches that had 3 watch batteries to them, and I took it to get the batteries replaced because Fossils were notorious for being harder to replace. They had like an extra seal on the inside, and so I took it to get it replaced, and they're like, it'd be $75. I'm like, these cost $75. He's like, I know, and I'm like, gonna go buy a new watch then. But I wasn't gonna do that every time, and so for like maybe 20 years, I didn't wear a watch. And then I was in a flood here. It's only flooded like 2 or 3 times in Madison, and I've been here for them. And I got, even though
2 or 3 times, I have never experienced a flood. 2 seems like a lot.
I'm not going to go into the whole minutia of it, but I was stuck in a board game store because this town's full of nerds, and it was like a little bit higher than other places, and they were still there after they closed, and they were like, "Hey man, come inside and hang out. You don't have to sit in your car. So when the water started coming in the car, I got out and joined them, and I was stuck there until about 3 a.m. and I didn't have a charger for my cell phone because I'm an idiot, and I just wanted to know what time it was, like all night long. And so anytime I would check my phone, it's just more battery. It's like a video game where you're trying to find Slender Man. Every time you turn the thing on, you're losing a battery. And it stressed me out. And so I don't live my life by a watch, but I like having one on in case I just want to know what time it is. And I don't feel like the downside to wearing a watch in modern day times, though, like a regular watch, is if you're like, I want to know what time it is. This looks like I'm tired of hearing what you're saying to me right now.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had a smartwatch, at least you could so that's what I should do, is I should just go. And then people will think I'm not being rude.
I mean, it is, yeah. You're being rude, but in a different, less
I'm not tired. I'm just also I have like 2 storylines going on at one time in my head all the time. So like I'm listening to people and I'm like, also wonder what time it is. Okay. Like I just need to know. I want to keep having but it looks like you do that and they go, I was wrapping the story up.
Have you you've seen Dr. Horrible's sing along blog? Yeah.
Yeah, been a minute, but yeah. NPH.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Felicia Day.
Yeah. Queen of the internet.
One of my favorite jokes from that is at some point he needs to make an excuse to leave and he's not wearing a watch and he just goes, "Oh, look at my wrist. I gotta go."
That's what's the kid, Johnny Galicki in Christmas Vacation? Jeez, look at the time, and he's not wearing a watch. That's good. Well, we've made it to the end where John dies. I hope everybody has seen from this conversation why I find some of the most amazing movies at the very bottom. I'm just one of these movie goblins that needs that fond at the bottom of the pan, and I'm scraping it and I'm snorting it up my nose. And John Dies at the End is definitely one of those. I'm going to watch this probably again tomorrow, I'll be honest with you. I've been doing that recently after these because it's been so much fun, because I wait to watch them until we do the show, and I'm like, God, I really want to watch it. And then we talk.
You want to give it your full attention.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's a movie that I think begs future watchings, because, or like repeat watchings, just because you're going to find something new every time. I'm going to stop the timer. This is pointless. It's weird. But I want
to point out that your closer there about John dies at the end, where John dies at the end. Nuh-uh.
He doesn't. Yeah, I was going to say I have
no idea what that title's about.
I think it's about getting people's attention, because it's a hell of a title, man.
In the book, there is actually there's a whole thing with like.
Well, didn't he?
So like Korok is there, but then there's also these shadow people.
Mm-hmm.
Korok is a god that, like, Marconi has independently verified 3 completely remote civilizations that all worshipped Korok, and all this. And part of their plan involves infiltrating and replacing people in our world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So switching them out, like pod people and stuff. And
right. And so, long story short, Dave does die, and now the canonical existing Dave is the Korok replacement.
Oh,
so technically Dave dies in the middle.
That would have been a great name as well. Well, all right, we're gonna shut this down. We're gonna get out of here. Michael, thank you for coming on the show, man. This was a good time.
Thanks for having me.
I tell you what, man, we'll talk out. I'm not gonna make any promises on Roadhouse or Back to the Future, but we'll talk, because those are big ones, man. We would have a lot of responsibility for handling those, and I've been trying to stay away from ones that other people would probably cover more. I kind of want to find my own lane and not step on other toes.
Unique episodes, yeah.
Kind of like I want to. This is movie church, man. I'm trying to inspire you to like watch some more stuff that you haven't seen before. I want to see stuff I haven't seen before, but I can't say no to Roadhouse or Back to the Future. There's a Back to the Future poster right there. So like I'm telling you, man, it would be a good time, but I will have to talk about it. But I'm very excited for it. Thank you so much. Everybody go, check me out over on YouTube. Go see all my friends, all the stuff we've been doing with them, a lot of shorts. Give me a subscribe. It really helps me out. I've got plans, but I gotta grow some stuff. Y'all don't even know what I got in the notebook, dog. I got stuff shot y'all ain't even seen yet. I haven't even begun to be done. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. Yeah, we talked over it.